to the computer. Okay, beautiful, wonderful. Hello, hello. Welcome, guys. Let's see. We're gonna do this over here. So this month, this is February, right? It's still February. So we are doing We Should All Be Millionaires. Super excited. It was a fantastic book. I have listened to it twice. I have bookmarked a couple of places on the audio book where I kind of go back and listen to it. If there was something that like stood out to me, I don't want to listen to the whole book. I can just go like, yep, I need to hear that today. But I also have the print copy of the book because it is a book you will definitely like work out of, right? So I am going to share my screen, and then we're going to kind of go through some things. We will not be here all day. We cannot be, because the way my life is set up today, at the top of the hour of every hour, I have something new to do. So this will be fun. But let's see. I want to share my screen. Yep. Actually, let's share the whole desktop. Okay, beautiful. So let me know if you guys can see all of this wonderfulness that's up here. Okay, great. I don't want you to see all this though. So let's see if we can move some stuff. We're gonna present you. Maybe present. Okay, there we go. Fabulous. All right, so I'm gonna take this down for a second. You can totally talk to me in the chat. Actually, come off of mute and talk to me because I won't be able to see you while we are recording. And let me see if I put my phone on do not disturb, will it stop the Facebook notifications? Okay, so for February, we did the We Should All Be Millionaires book. I thought it was incredible. I actually read it in a different book club last month. And I was like, man, like people need to read this book. So this is the fourth month in a row that I have had something to do with this book. But in case you are new and you don't know me, because there are a lot of people who will be watching a replay who this is your first interaction with me, people invited you to the book club. So to let you know about me, I am Coach Chef Kim. Yes, I'm an actual pastry chef, but I am retired. I was a chef instructor as well, and I'm currently a scholar practitioner at the Wright Graduate University studying transformational leadership and coaching. What does that mean? It means I don't think like everybody else. And so as we go through these books, we're going to talk about this from the lens of a transformation coach, not just from the lens of somebody who is just reading a book. So there are some things that I notice that I will bring up within all of the books that I've chosen. And I can tell you that I read about 5 books a month. So narrowing it down to one has been extraordinarily hard. If you want to learn more about me or learn more about improving your life, self-help, things of the sort, you can definitely visit the visionarycatalyst.consulting.com. Now, believe it or not, I actually have goals for the book club. So the mission is to provide an inclusive and engaging space for women to connect and exchange ideas through literature. The books that I'm selecting will inspire personal growth as well as promote diverse perspectives. And I definitely want to point that out. I intentionally chose We Should All Be Millionaires for the month of February because it's Black History Month, right? And so I wanted to start with finances coming from the lens, giving the cultural perspective of an African-American woman. The way she wrote this book, it sounds like your girlfriend is talking to you. And I love that. But she also goes into some other things that I hold near and dear to my heart. So for the vision of the book club in general, it is to create a community of women who uplift and empower each other through reading and discussion. We can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about when we are breaking down each of these books. And then our ultimate goal is to inspire and encourage each other to live more fulfilling and meaningful lives and to make a positive impact in our communities and beyond. Thus, the Positive Voice Book Club. So the values I hold near and dear to my heart: inclusivity and diversity. You will see that as we start going through these books. I am just picking all sorts of people from various backgrounds. Empowerment. I want you to read these books and feel empowered. Like you must. Lifelong learning. Y'all, I'm on my like 4th degree. I think this is the 4th degree. And they're trying to talk me into getting a PhD. So maybe degree number 5. I am a proponent of lifelong learning. So all of the books are going to lean towards that, as well as connection and community. And lastly, positivity and inspiration. So let's dig in. Let's talk about it. Like, what stood out to you? What did you learn? What did you love? What made you uncomfortable? That's what I want to know. And for a second, I'm gonna bring this back down. I'm gonna stop my screen share so that we can have a quick, cute little chit chat on how y'all feel about this book. Like, go over your thoughts. How'd you feel?
Oh, can I speak?
Yes.
Oh, I love this book.
Why'd you love the book,
Um,
Tori?
like you said, it felt like I was speaking to like one of my good girlfriends. And she didn't, you know how a lot of books about money, they overcomplicate things and it make, I don't know, a lot of the books make me kind of feel like I'm just not doing something right. And with her, it's like, girl, you can do it. It's
Yeah.
just as simple as doing this and just as simple as doing that. And one thing that stood out to me was the debt, her views on debt. Cause I'm like, this is something that me and you talked about with my
Yeah.
views on my debt. And I was like, okay, this is the second time I've heard this. There's some truth to this.
It is. I think that culturally, like one of the things that I've been sitting with and we were talking about in school is how throughout the generations, they can pass down trauma, and that includes a thought, right? If we think debt is bad, generational trauma will start to look like culture after a while. So if in your particular culture, if in a community of color, you are told that debt is bad throughout the generations, then you believe debt is bad. But I can tell you 100%, having friends from all sorts of diverse backgrounds, everybody doesn't think that. They're like, yeah, debt is just an opportunity to pay things off over time. Debt is good. I put my entire life on my American Express so I can travel for free. Like there's a mindset shift that different socioeconomic status people have that everybody doesn't have. And I was like, this book is going to be incredible because she kind of breaks that down. And she tells you, like, she grew up with no money. Right. So when you come from the lens of, well, okay, I grew up like sharing a bedroom with my sister, and then I'm babysitting for these people, and this child has a playroom. Like, I don't even have my own bedroom, and this kid I'm babysitting has a playroom type of thing. So it helps you kind of see the world from a very different lens, which is something that I'm like ridiculously passionate about. If y'all haven't figured that out yet, that like the world does not look the way we think it does. It just, unfortunately, it doesn't, which is a good thing for us because then that leaves room for growth. But I love that that's what you took away from it. What else did you like in this book?
um, Let me see. So there's a few. I have like a list, but I'm walking, so I'm trying to walk and talk.
I
But
feel you.
I'm her approach to debt was like one that stuck out to me. The 25 things you could do to make money. I didn't
Uh-huh.
get 25, but I like that. And then just the fact that knowing that it's okay to hire out. Because a lot of times you feel like you're superwoman and she's like, no, that's broke boost thoughts.
Listen.
And I'm like, the broke boost thoughts was my whole, like most of it was on my thoughts. So I'm like, okay, that's why I'm in the position I'm in. Cause that's what,
Yep.
it kind of helps you realize that like you're in this position because this is how you think. We about to change that butt to an and then, move forward.
All the things. It makes my little transformation coach heart happy. Oh my God. I don't even think y'all understand. Cause I was like, hell yeah, broke ass thoughts. Stop thinking like that. But seriously, when you hire things out, and even so here's so I'm one of my coaches. You all know Sadie is my coach. So Sadie is always like, be in the middle. right? Like be in the middle. And so one of the things that I was thinking about while we were doing this book, also, if you're wondering about the debt part and you haven't made it that far through the book, it is on page 214. Shout out to the universe. I literally opened the book and it said, consider why you have debt. And I was like, shut up. I don't even have it marked, but here we go. So in the case you need to jump up to that one, it's on page 214. But being in the middle, right? Like hiring out things you don't like to do. Oh my God. That, like, I don't cut grass. Like, even when I was still married and had an able-bodied man that could walk outside and cut the grass, baby, we outsourced that. That was no, there is no need for fighting. Like her and her husband were fighting over who was going to cook dinner. Neither one of us are going to cook dinner anymore. We're going to hire a chef and this is what we're going to do, right? And in the long run, it made sense for them where they are in life. And so when we think about like, what can we hire out? You hire out almost anything. Like, I'm still standing with, if I take Cherry to this convention, I'm bringing somebody for Cherry, because I don't want to walk around the convention center with my child who could have a panic attack. If I go to VidCon, I want to go to VidCon to learn. I don't have time to like watch my kid. So I've already been like trying to smooch up to her therapist. Like, hey, if I pay for you to come to LA with us, can you help Cherry be acclimated to being in this conference? And she's like, absolutely. Listen, however much money that's going to cost me will be worth it. Hands down, it will be worth it, because I need to learn some things and I can't learn things if I'm taking care of you, right? That's the same thing with like single parents. Like, child, if you don't hire that out, Marshall got into 27 colleges, 27 colleges as a homeschool student. Listen here, I hired that out, okay? Because they were like, we need a transcript. I hired somebody to write the transcript and she scrubbed my social media and was like, y'all did a whole lot over the last 4 years. And she turned every post that I had on social media into some sort of educational thing. And my kid got into 27 schools. That would have never happened if I had to sit there and write the transcript. Like, no. So hire out the things you don't want to do, even if that means you hire a maid to come clean your house once a month, twice a month. If you live in Atlanta, holler at me. I got to connect. Like, and it's not as expensive as you think it is. Hiring out is fun. But if you still are like on the edge and you're like, well, I can't hire somebody out in my business. If you are into content creation and you trying to figure out how you finna balance all this out in life, I got you covered. Starting March 1st, I don't even think you understand. The power of automation and AI will change your life. There's zero reason why content creators are not producing the level of content they want to. And so that's what we're going to do for 30 days in March. And I'm super excited. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I am excited because I've already like created all the social media stuff for it. And I've already scheduled posts for the next week leading up to it. Like, I don't have to do anything. I spend an hour creating it. And then it's just going to go off and people are going to join it. It's going to be a wonderful time next month. And we will talk about how you use AI generated things in order to like lessen your workload, but then also for you to be like, yeah, I can like pay somebody like 5 hours a week to do this. And it's no big deal. Pay them in cookies. I don't know. Pay them in macarons. Listen, I don't know. Barter it out, but you can pay somebody to do the things you need them to do, right? So I think that is super cool. Tori, you have anything else before I hop back into my little presentation?
As it comes, no, not right now. Something may come to me later.
Okay, cool. I support that. All right, let me reshare my screen so that you guys can see. There's a couple of things I took away from this. Hold on.
Oh wait, I got something.
Yeah, shoot.
There's something that she mentions early on that was my light bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Said, hang on, that even if I have it now, that I realize that I may have the money now, but then I might have it for a time, but I can't count on it long term. That's my fear. They're here today, gone tomorrow. And I realized I know where that fear came from, you know, unlocking those core memories.
Yep.
Stuff that has happened before where I've had it.
Yeah.
Had it in a large sum and I've been fine. And I mean, not millionaire status,
Right.
you know, we've been great.
Uh-oh.
And then all of a sudden it's gone. And we've got that fear that we're going to be fine again, you know, and that's not always going to, you know, that's not going to be the case again. Oops, sorry. It's just one of those things that you're learning as you're going along.
Yeah.
That's not going to be it again. Oh, did we lose the camera? Oh, there you go.
There is, y'all know how my internet be acting every time I be live. I've also realized if I turn my photo off, that it'll get its life together. If I turn the video off. So on social media yesterday, maybe it was the Tamron Hall show, just like a little clip from her show. DeVale and Kadeen Ellis were talking about that. And I do have their book geared up in audiobooks. I'll let y'all know if we gonna read it or not. I don't know yet. I gotta listen to it. But they talk about that, how when he retired from the NFL, he lost everything in the stock market. And how she was like, well, what are we gonna do? And he was like, I don't know, but like, I need you to trust me. And she said, cool. And that day she like got dressed, got on the bus and went and got a job doing makeup up until they figured out what their next step was going to be. Right. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so timely that this is, it's a limiting belief that a lot of people have, because if you're not born into wealth, then there is the chance that it won't be here. Like I feel that wholeheartedly. This time 2 years ago, I was making $15,000 a month. Like easy, like just breathing. It was just money falling out of the sky. And I was like, this is incredible. But I had never felt that before. And I'm not making 15K anymore. But you still know that like once you do it the first time, you're like, okay, I know this is possible. So let me figure out how we're going to replicate it and keep it happening. So that is actually a fantastic segue into my next slide, because that's what I talk about. Let's see if I can present this again. Is like the things that I took away from this, limiting beliefs. So she highlights the importance of recognizing and overcoming limiting beliefs that hold individuals back from achieving financial success. Like she has her own set of things in there. Within our monthly group coaching, we absolutely go over mistaken beliefs and limiting beliefs about things, because sometimes the thing that is holding us is the worries of like our grandparents or the worries of another person. Like most of the time, these thoughts are not ours. But on the flip side, she also encourages readers to cultivate an abundance mindset, which is going to focus on opportunities rather than looking at everything like it's a limitation. I can't do this, but I can do X, Y, Z, right? And so there's also going to be another like mini little workbook uploaded to the portal for like after you read the book. There's one in there for while you read the book, but then I created another one this morning for after you read the book that has like all of my takeaways and then ways for you to like live this out within your life. Two other things she talked about were setting goals. Of course, we've all heard of SMART goals, making sure they're specific, measurable, things of the sort. I agree with SMART goals, but then I also disagree with SMART goals. Sometimes you just need a win, and following the SMART thing doesn't necessarily give you a win the way you need it. So we will definitely break that down a little bit more into what does it look like for me to have goals that I can achieve, as well as other things I want to aspire for. And then networking. Y'all, this was my favorite part of the book. I hate networking, but when she talks about building your $1 million team, oh my God. I was like, yep. Yeah. I wish I had known about $1 million team years ago when my children were smaller, right? Like, who is on your team? Who is helping you take care of your kids? Who is helping you prepare meals? Who is helping you clean your house? Who is getting you dressed? Who is like pumping you up in the mirror? Who is doing your makeup? Who do you have on speed dial that can do your hair at the, drop of a dime? All these people should be on your team because they're a part of your network. So the idea that networking just has to be like a bunch of people in the room and we all pass down business cards, I think the days of that, I hope, have gone. But that's not the only way that you can network, particularly when it comes to achieving your financial goals. Now, I don't know if this was mentioned in the book or not, but I'm gonna throw this in. Another thing that I wholeheartedly believe is do not say you're moving in silence. You should never be moving in silence. That's a trauma response. Y'all know how I feel about that. But a broke ass decision is not telling people what you're doing. Because how are they going to buy from you? How are they going to be able to refer you to somebody else if you don't tell people that this is what you do? So for me, I was like, yeah, that's a broke ass decision when you're like, I'm moving in silence. Don't do that. Tell people what you're doing. You don't have to give them the sauce, but they at least need to know what you're cooking, okay? Because that will help. We have something in the chat. What is that? Yes. It's a broke ass and it's a trauma response. Okay, so this is also going to be uploaded to the portal. These are my questions. Like, after you read the book, these are the things you ask yourself. What are some limiting beliefs you have about money, success, or yourself that may be holding you back? And when you do this exercise, don't do this to judge yourself. It's just data. That's all it is, right? It's literally just data. Like, some of the limiting beliefs could be, every time I make a lot of money, something breaks in my house, and so I don't ever get to hold on to that money. It could be every time I bring in more, my kids need more. Every time I make more money, somebody in my family, something happens to them and I have to give it to them. The limiting belief that you have to give it to somebody in your family because they asked for it. Things like that, right? Like, whatever the limiting belief is, and it could be that you don't think that you're educated enough, that you're smart enough, that, you're the cool kid on the block that can do these other things. Whatever those limiting beliefs are, write them out. Don't judge them. Just write it out. And then that way you can dispel them, right? I can look at every limiting belief I have about making money, and I can come up with something that is going to be a little more positive, where, yes, my children. So like when I was making $15,000 a month, right? The first month that happened, I got an email from my son's school saying that we owed them $10,000 for room and board. What the flip, right? So yeah, I had $15K in the bank, and it was literally less than 24 hours. And I was like, I can't believe this. I've never seen this much money in my account. And then I get this email, and they're like, if you don't pay this by end of day, we're kicking your kid out of school. First of all, why are you sending me emails like this? They had the wrong email address. So while they have been trying to contact me for weeks, the email address was wrong. And then somehow they finally got it right on the last notice, right? So then that meant 90% of the money in my account went somewhere else immediately. So imagine how that feels when you're like, yeah, I'm on top of the world, I'm planning trips, we doing things, and then you have to give it to somebody for an expense you weren't prepared for. I could look at that as a negative, or I can say, you know what, thank you, universe, that I had the money in the bank that I could pay this so my child wasn't put out of school in Boston while I was in Atlanta in the middle of a freaking pandemic, right? The abundance mindset will help you shift from scarcity to abundance at all times. And I preach this, I live it, right? Whenever you start feeling icky, whenever you start feeling low, whenever you start feeling down, at 99.9% of the time, it's going to have something to do with money. It's because when you have money, even if your world is chaotic, you are a little more, composed. You can pay for whatever it is and everything is okay. But if you don't have the money to pay for it, that's when you move into a low vibration. That's when you're in low energy. So think about practices or habits you can adopt to cultivate an abundance mindset. If you need some ideas on that, definitely look at the visionarycatalyst.consulting.com. There's lots of them. Goal setting. What are your financial goals? Be specific and look at it in measurable steps. One of the things that I be dancing on everything too, Tori. One of the things that I will be rolling out in the coming weeks, especially like particularly for financial goals and things like that, is number one, you have to know where you are financially before you can like move on. So that is the scary part of like, okay, where am I? I know I can't pay this, but that's fine. It's just data. You're going to hear me say that a lot. It's just data. Don't judge it. But we need to know where you are financially in order to figure out how to get you where you need to be as you are walking out this journey, right? Because here's the tea. The last thing you want to do is to be on like this healing journey and like doing mindfulness and meditation and all these things, and you still making broke ass decisions. Like, part of our growth is to no longer make broke ass decisions. So while we are out here trying to make these $1 million decisions and not broke ass decisions, that's going to also move into, you need to know your numbers and you need to know where you are and what you need. That way you're able to actually track your goals and your progress over time. Build a network. We have lots of Facebook groups that can help you with your network. I actually just joined one for finances specifically. And I've only been in there for about a week and a half. I'll let y'all know. I'll come back and give you a review and I'll let you know if it's helping or not. But I just wanted to be around people who understood the things that we hear about debt is that debt is bad. You are irresponsible with money. Things of the sort, right? Well, what happens when you have debt that did not come from that? Like, what happens when you have debt that didn't come from running up your credit card? What if it's medical bills? What if like your vehicle shut off? You know what I mean? Like, all debt isn't you were being irresponsible. All of the debt that I have currently, this was not being irresponsible. It was my kid was in the hospital for 18 days and we weren't prepared for that. And now these medical bills are starting to roll in. And while some of them are not valid, I mean, they sent us one for $25,000. I'm not paying that. Like the insurance company hadn't done their part yet. And so there are times where medical bills, they're like, get your money back from the insurance company. We need our money now, right? So that means I have to come up off of that money. And here we go. Investing in your business. That is one of the biggest ones. There's some things you just have to purchase in order for you to make money. And when you are investing in yourself and investing in your business, that is debt that is good. Going back to school, right? That's another expense that will put you into debt, which is why you have to understand debt is not bad. Now, if you are irresponsible with money and you just get a whole bunch of credit cards and you just go buy a bunch of crap, that is not good. That means you need to grow up. But for those of us who have debt or we have things that need to be paid off over time because the expense was too much to come out of pocket for it, we need strategic ways to pay that off, right? And so I feel like the book gave you a lot of ways to do so. She definitely talks about, coming up with a bunch of different ways to make money really quickly. Another tangible way to do that is the 1K in 10-day challenge. that my coach had back in December, where our goal was to make $1,000 in 10 days. And I will definitely put that in the portal. I'll link to it because you can do it at any time. You can go back and you can watch those videos. You can see the different ways people were easily making money. And so if you're not in that group, I'll definitely make sure that's inside of the portal where you can go in there and you can quickly make money, right? I don't like the word hustle. Something about it's bad. I don't like the word hustle. I also don't like the word grind. But there are things you can do, particularly on the internet. I don't know. I'm gonna turn my thing back off. It says my internet connection is not stable. There are things that you can do virtually that don't require you to leave your home, that you can make money with quickly and probably faster than if you had to leave the house. So for people who have obstacles where you need childcare, or you have kids who have medical needs where you can't just leave them with anybody at any time, there are ways for you to make money if you're open to it. And then the last one that I had on there was being open to entrepreneurship. So, and I put it being open to entrepreneurship and not go get a side hustle. I don't believe in that. And I stand by it. I don't. Maybe I'll do a podcast episode on it. I don't know. We'll see. But the word hustle makes my skin crawl because I'm like, I don't need to hustle for money. I just need to make money so I can pay somebody. And when you think about bills that need to be paid, think about it on the level of, and I know these are companies, I know this is big business, right? But if we humanize them, you need to pay another entrepreneur their money because you either work for an entrepreneur or you are one. That's just the way life works. So that's kind of my little take on it. That was my spiel on the book. I totally loved it. Totally loved this book. As our it was the second book. Last month we did Limitless, and I will still go back in and do a little review on Limitless. Limitless was really just to help you get in the mind frame of a growth mindset and being open and available to reading more and learning more. I was like, I'm gonna read a book a month. Child, I'm on my 8th book of the year. I can't stop right now. My brain is exploding. Our next book is, I don't know. I think it's this one. Get Out of Your Own Head. I believe this is March. So get out of your head. Now, this is her view on finance gurus that tell you to cut back on spending. Oh, listen. You are not gonna live in a poorhouse if you go to Starbucks. I cannot stand somebody that tells you can't have those little pleasures in life. That means the only thing your whole life sucks and you're in debt and I can't have a cup of coffee. Please. I'm not cutting out my cup of coffee. I totally agree with that, Tori. She does talk about that in the book. Listen, to each his own, okay? And everything don't work for everybody. These people who give up everything and they take on 2-3 jobs and do, the snowball challenges, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Y'all, I lived that life while I was married. And I can tell you, it was probably one of the things that hurt my marriage the most because we were constantly in debt. I didn't start making money until we got divorced because I no longer had to deal with that and I could do it on my own terms. And on my own terms, baby, I am going to have some Starbucks. It made me happy. And being happy made me want to make more money. So yes, Tori, I totally agree with that. So we're gonna read Get Out of Your Head next month. It's called Stopping the Spiral of Toxic Thoughts. Disclaimer. This book is written with a spiritual, she refers to the Bible. I have to throw that out there because while this is not a Christian book club, this book she just kind of compares things, right? And the way I sit with this is, please don't pull out your Bible and go into Bible study unless that's what you do. Okay. That is not what I do. But a lot of the same principles that are in the Bible absolutely align with spirituality, which are two different things in my head. So stick with the book, stick with the content. It's not a whole lot of, everybody pull out your Bibles and let's turn to King James. It's not a whole lot of that. If it was, I definitely want to encourage this book, but stopping the spiral thoughts of toxicity needs to happen before we move into you're a badass with money. So that is going to be April. We're going to talk about being a badass with money with Jen Sincero. Incredible book. I love it. Clearly if the name of the book is You're a Badass with Money, she got a potty mouth. So that's a fair warning for that book too. If you don't like a whole lot of cussing, it's not overly terrible, but she definitely uses some colorful language to get her point across. But I love it. That one I do have on audiobook. I've listened to it at least 10 times since 2020. Because it's just one that you can just listen to over and over again about those stories. So do you guys have anything else you want to talk about with this book? Any final thoughts? It was good to you?
Oh, could I add a final thought?
Yes, you can.
I know I was talking and chatting a lot, but there was something that I noticed between Limitless and this book is the approach to problem solving. Limitless has more steps, but to me it kind of seems the same. And I'm like, I even noticed the similarity even in our coaching, like how we are supposed to approach something that we look at as, I'm stuttering, sorry, stuff that we look at as a problem, like the several steps that you go through to help solve it and realize that it's probably not a problem, just something that you can fix. That's all. That's my final thought.
Exactly. Look at you having revelations. Come on, transformation. Oh, I love it. It means my coaching is not in vain. I would just like to throw that out there. It means you're listening every Wednesday night when we talk about this stuff. But also, like, I'm not going to give you something to read that doesn't directly align with what we're doing, right? So Limitless is for the analyzer. Like, that's an analyzer book through and through. The people that need step by step by step by step, they need 25 steps. Limitless. Whereas then you have books that's like, stop making broke ass thoughts. Like, you doing broke ass stuff right now. Stop it. Like, don't do this, right? As opposed to don't do this, and this. As soon as she said that's a broke ass thought, you could categorize all the things that went into that. Whereas in Limitless, he was giving you the full list of all the things that went into it, right? So I'm definitely trying to bring in books that appease all the personality styles. So whether you're listening to the book or you're reading the book itself, We Should All Be Millionaires is definitely one I would say hold on to. It didn't come out until 2021. So it's not an old book. Limitless was more study. And honestly, if you just read chapter 13 through the end, that's the meat. Like, that's the meat and potatoes of that book, where he is applying all the stuff that he talks about, which is what made me love the book. But this one, I've listened to this book multiple times and purchased it. So definitely love that. Miss Nancy, did you have any final thoughts?
Not really, but I am going to finish this today because that's how I read.
Okay, then.
Yeah, nah, it's relatively a small book, so it'll be done. But nah, she's got me. It's like the first line got me. The first line in chapter 1.
You feel like you talking to your homegirl.
Oh. She was like, you're living in a financial prison of your own making. It was like, what?
Yes. Just sucker.
Right.
Yeah. Like, well, damn. Okay.
That was like, okay. And the funny thing is, I called my best friend. I was like, girl, She's dyslexic, so she's the audiobook person. And I'm like, you need to get this audiobook now.
Now.
So she went ahead and ordered it, and
Yeah.
I'm like, when you hear it, call me.
Yeah.
So she will be. You did say we can invite other people out.
Absolutely. Please do.
So when you see Katya, that's my girl.
Absolutely.
Next
Please
book.
invite as many people as humanly possible. One of the things that I started thinking about, and like you'll hear about this when we go through the 30-day content creation challenge, but one of my biggest hiccups, like I have not been able to execute this challenge. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, this is what I do. This is what I teach people. Why can't I do this? And I realized I wasn't being true to myself. I was trying to, you know how you watch the people on Instagram and TikTok and they have these productions, right? With the lights and the cameras and all the things. And I was like, I don't have this. And literally this morning I woke up with the thought, you don't need it. And I was like, you are out here, and because I have it written on the wall, your yes is attached to somebody else's breakthrough. So if I don't show up authentically, you're not going to get what you need to get from me. And I was like, yeah, girl, we don't do this. Like, you are in school to be a life coach. We don't do this. Like, get it together. So I life coach myself this morning. Like, I literally just woke up this morning and the first thought on my mind was, you don't have to have that. Just be you. And I've literally created the framework for a 30-day content creation challenge that will not focus on creating content. It will focus on being intentional about what you say. Okay. There is a difference. Because I can go downstairs and make a cake. So what? Like, that's okay, cool. Yes, those videos are fun to look at, but if you're a part of my audience, that's not why you're here. Like, if you're drawn to me, there's a reason you're drawn to me, and I feel like it's watering down the brand by just giving you frosting. I'm more than frosting. Like, that's not what this is. So that was one of my things where it's like, you do this to yourself. Like, you talk yourself out of being a millionaire by making broke ass decisions and thinking you can't do it. So for 30 days hardcore in March, it will be the Visionary Catalyst podcast live every day. Like, no excuses. Just go do the thing. Like, if you're doing the thing, how is this thing going to help you? Like, Tori, I don't know what you're going to do and what you're supposed to be doing, but the way you showed out on them 2 sets of cookies in this here Black History Month, I just need you to understand. I don't know what's coming, but you've been playing small. And it's time to like move into our next season. I don't know what it is yet. Maybe it'll come to me in a dream. I don't know. But all I can tell you is get ready, because you put my child's whole face on a cookie. I don't even.
It gave me life. Those are the type of sets I love to do. And I had an epiphany too. This is funny. This is recently, because I know what type of content I wanted to put out. But for a long time, I was like, okay, I don't mind being in front of the camera, but then I don't want to be behind the camera. And I'm noticing every time I say that, stuff that I try to do behind the camera will go good, but then it will stop. And I'm like, it's probably because that's not my purpose. My purpose is to show what I've seen through that medium. And I was like, I said it myself, Jermaine will tell you, I was like, I need to stop being scared. I was scared of negative comments. I was scared of people seeing too much imperfection in it. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to say it. I'm a Cancer. We overthink.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Nancy, you with me? You know, we will have a good idea, and then like 5 reasons why not to do it will come up, and then we have to pull ourselves back in and say, no, this is good. Like, we have like 4 conversations with ourselves.
Yep.
And that's okay, right? So a part of my homework this week is we have to give compliments and we have to ask for them, right? So when you move into this spiral of this is not good enough, this is not whatever, I want you to record it. I want you to record it. right? So say it's a voiceover on you creating something, and you're like, while I was standing there doing this, these are the thoughts that were running through my mind. And then you can do one of two things. You can dispel whatever it was you just said, or ask your audience to dispel it for you. Now, granted, that takes some real big kahunas to do, but when have you ever asked for a compliment and not gotten it? Right? So again, and we're gonna dig into this, particularly in our Wednesday night coaching. We're gonna dig into how we break our own hearts. Because we do. Because you've created an imaginary world in your head, and it's not real life. And you already broke your heart before you will start. You have already convinced yourself it is not good enough. But who said that? No, you didn't even let me see it. Like, let me see it. Let me be the person to say this is not great, right? Like, don't tell yourself no. And that was one of the things that I learned working in retail, was we could not spend the money for the customer. It wasn't our job. My job was to go for no. So my employees would have to track how many times somebody told them no. Track how many times they tell you no, right? Like, we're going for 200 no's this week. Track how many times somebody tells you no. You want to know what's going to happen? If you are going for the no, you're going to get a shit ton of yeses. It's reverse psychology in the brain. It works. I'm sorry. It just does. Okay. This is how your brain works. But, and Nancy, whatever you need to do in self-love, I need you to get together and you do it.
I'm entering the competition.
Yeah, competition.
Yes,
Y'all don't make me come to SoFlo just so I can cheer y'all on for no other reason. I'm not teaching. I told them no, thank you. Y'all are not paying enough money for me to give you my time, because we have arrived. Sorry, no, thank you. But I will come and cheer y'all on. Child, let me go and get my hotel room ready in Miami.
Oh, darn. That's I'm like, now I'm like, should I go to SoFlo? Because it was crossed off my list. But I want to see y'all do y'all thing.
Yeah. I'm a fan of this. I am a super fan. Okay, y'all, hold on. Okay, so my badness, totally forgot I was recording. So for those of you watching the replay, we are done. Make sure you check the portal for the ending of this. I'm so glad that you watched. Definitely talk to me and Podia. If you like respond where this video is posted, I see it. I get an email and I will respond to you. So if you have questions, you think about something, make sure you drop it over there in that community so that we can all see it and have a conversation on it. I love you guys so much. I will see you at the end of next month when we are discussing get out of your head so that we can stop the toxic thoughts in our heads. Hold on. Or not. Y'all know my computer just froze, right?